in a professional way here, then we'll be all right.
I think that's true.
It's always cold in here. Well, good afternoon, evening, everybody. Welcome to our Planning Commission meeting for Riverdale City, January the 9th, 2023. Are you representing?
Safe Line?
Yes. Okay, so we don't have anybody else to allow public comment, so we will go on to, by the way, all the commissioners are in attendance. We have 100%. Mr. Eggett, would you like to go to presentations and reports?
Yeah, no, I can keep this brief. Just noted that Shake Shack is opening and functioning, and hopefully members of the public are enjoying it as a new business in our community. Ashley Furniture, I don't have any updates from our last meeting. I had Tesla, I noted, they're just continuing to move forward with their site. I'm getting it prepped for their building. Napa Auto Parts is close to opening in their new space, and plan to anticipate grand opening room cutting if I can get to talk to somebody. Not sure where the status of Thrive Appliance will go. I have no updates on the RC Willie building, unfortunately. Chuck E. Cheese, we have design review committee meeting with them tomorrow. That project continues to move forward. The Panera Bread at John Paris building, we have a meeting with UDOT tomorrow, hopefully to get some guidance of ways to solve that situation and move that forward. IDK Barbecue, I don't have any updates. And I noted that we are working with a bunch of partners on some bridge challenges we're facing along 4400. I'll keep you updated as we get more traction and solutions with that. And then I finally noted that that we have some more land use updates that will need to be accomplished in the coming weeks, and I will bring those forward in waves as soon as I get the work done and get the new language completed on those. So I think that's everything that I noted in the work session. I also will note that there was a article in the Standard Examiner about Riverdale a couple of days ago. So
Great.
it was good. It was positive.
Good.
It was just talking about the positive growth in the city and all the restaurants and how there's been a lot of food option growth in Riverdale over the last few years.
Good.
So it was a good article. But anyway, I got quoted more than I would have liked to, but it's an article that's positive, so we'll take it. And that's it. That's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you very much. Consent items, if nobody has any comments or remarks to make, a motion would be in order.
I move that we approve the consent items from December 12th work session and regular meeting.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Celeste, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Our action item, consideration of conditional use permit request for Safe Light Auto Glass located at approximately 770 West River Park Drive, Riverdale, Utah 84405, as requested by H&P Investment and Safe Light Auto Glass Group. Mr. Eggett?
Thank you. As you heard, Safe Light Auto Glass is represented today, so if you have any questions, feel free to address the representative. H&P Investments also is the property owner and had applied in conjunction with Safe Light for this conditional use permit this evening. The permit request is for an automobile glass repair service center located at 770 West River Park Drive, which is in the building north of Tri-State Metal Roofing. Affected parcel is in the regional commercial C3 zone, and so it would be compliant, again, subject to the conditional use permit review, and if approval is provided, they could move forward with their business license. No public hearing requirement is needed for this request. The guidance is found under the Title 10-19 conditional uses. Again, there are articles, I believe it's A through G in the last section of that would be applicable as far as the screen for the conditional use request and reviewing any impacts. The general plan guidance is commercial as set in our updated general plan, and this project does comply with that use. And reviewing departmental staff reports, there's no concerns from our public works director, nor our police chief, our fire chief. Didn't get back to me in time. He's on vacation. And so I wasn't able to get a response, but I don't feel like he would have concerns. He did just note after the fact of getting the packet together that I need to talk to the fire marshal, but there wasn't any concern noted by him. So the conditional use permit application is found in your packet. You can see the fee being paid, and then the site of the building is found there under, which is the Space 2 building of the Flex. The only thing that I noted in the work session, and maybe the representative could come up and share, is how much of the building is being used, if it's all of the building or a portion of the building. And with that, I would defer to the Planning Commission as you see fit to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, would you like to come forward and state your name and your city of residence?
Yes, Stan Gaylord, Safe Flight Auto Glass District Manager. I am Stansbury Park, Utah.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Well, good luck
A
going.
little away from home.
Yeah.
That's going to be a rough ride.
Yeah, that's going to be a rough
Yeah,
drive
that'll be all
tonight.
right. I'm used to it. Cover Logan to Utah counties.
Oh, okay.
wow.
Okay.
Not a big deal.
Okay. Like Mr. Eggett said, are you planning on using the entire building?
About 90%.
About 90%.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the very end bay is actually, the owners are going to keep that for storage. So it'll just be a storage site there that they're going to keep some storage things in as they're moved out of some buildings and move some things around. So
Okay.
other than that, we'll have the rest of the building.
And in this location, people will be bringing their cars in
Yes.
to get them.
Yeah. Auto glass repair and replacement,
Gotcha.
recalibration. Yep.
So you will be providing both mobile and on-site repairs then?
Yeah, so our plan is to actually combine our two shops in Ogden into one big shop. So our building on 12th Street is actually going to be tore down.
On 12th Street?
Yeah, so
Okay.
they, the owner wants to tear that building down. It needs a lot of work. It's in really bad shape. And then our wall store, we're going to close and consolidate those two and move to Riverdale.
Well, we're glad you're coming here.
Okay.
So we're moving this direction, where all the fun is and all the excitement and the growth. We're kind of in two old areas of the city right now. So yeah, so we're excited to head over to Riverdale.
Okay.
Okay, that answered my question.
I have a question. You'll take old glass out. Do you have dumpsters you're going to put all that in?
Yes and no. Depending on the size of it, we actually recycle the majority of our auto glass. So auto glass windshields, we actually crate it up and we ship it back to, we have truckloads that come in from California every day. And then all the warehouses, as they deliver our new glass, they take our old glass with them. And then they actually send it back to California, and we actually have a recycling plant there that recycles it.
That's amazing.
So there's little waste and
Yeah, a little waste of auto glass itself, mainly just the supplies, shop supplies, things like that that we're throwing away.
Dan, you're bringing in semi trucks in there. Does it have the capability of making the turns as you're coming in that
Yeah, so
location?
not quite semi trucks, more like rider-sized trucks, things like that. But yeah, we've got
Large
plenty
box
of
trucks.
large box trucks, but plenty of space within the facility to get in and out. That building next to us, the roofing supply company, they have large trucks going in and out as well. So
Yeah, I was just noticing you're kind of coming around the west side there. If you had big trucks,
yeah,
would that be a concern? But it sounds like box trucks is not an issue.
yeah, box trucks will be fine. We'll be able to pull up to the bays there on the front side and unload there, so shouldn't be a problem at all. And they usually deliver when we're closed, so we don't have vehicles in the parking lot and things like that. So a lot of space there.
So you have big warehouse doors for these trucks, right?
Yep. Yeah, full-size bay doors. So, yeah, we usually don't pull those trucks in. We have kind of a system where we actually have carts that we load onto the trucks, and then when we bring them, we just drop those carts off and roll the carts into the shops. And that's how we load and unload the glass.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
We deal with, we have another business in the city that we've kind of had some challenges with. Do you have customers, or do you sometimes have cars that stay overnight in your parking lot or in your bays, or do you kind of try to rotate stuff the day it comes in, the day it goes out type of thing?
Yeah, so we're more of a same-day service.
Okay, I just wanted to
So-
make sure, because I could see if there were cars sitting, we might get people asking what's going on kind of thing.
Yeah,
So-
and anything that stays, we generally try to pull it into the shop. The only thing that we might see occasionally is we do offer like a drop and go service. So some people might drop something off at night and put it in our drop box, and then it's there the next morning for us. But that's pretty rare. But that's only maybe one or two vehicles here and there. So
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
That's a good question.
I think Safe Light's fantastic. I'm glad you're going to be here.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
I just have the little
The jingle.
song.
It's addictive.
Okay, well, if everybody's good, I'd like to make a motion to approve the conditional use permit request for Safe Light Auto Glass located at approximately 770 West River Park Drive, Riverdale, Utah 84405, as requested by H&P Investments and Safe Light Auto Glass Group.
I'll second that.
Michelle, would you poll the commission, please?
Commissioner Nolan?
Yes.
Commissioner Polson?
Yes.
Commissioner Herman?
Yes.
Commissioner Eskelson?
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson?
Yes?
Commissioner Spires?
Yes.
Commissioner Nye?
Yes.
Well, the voting has been unanimous. You're approved.
Thank you.
Have you?
We appreciate that. Thanks so
Thanks for
much.
being here.
We're excited.
Glad you came.
And just so you know, when you're ready to move forward, you'll work with Michelle on the business licensing aspect of things.
Okay.
So if you have any questions before you leave, you could talk to her if you wanted to.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Much. Does anybody have any comments or
By the window.
I do.
would you like to add?
I do.
I'll
I,
get that, I'm sure.
thanks to Commissioner Anderson, I watched the city council meeting. I thought it was a very, very great tribute to Counselor Hilton. I thought that was fantastic, and I want to just publicly thank our police department. They went under massive fire, literally, within what, a week? Within the same weekend, and they just, our officers, I think maybe you said it somewhere, our officers shine as well as any major police department, if not better.
Those of you who, well, you probably all are familiar, but they went from that to the cyber kidnapping, for lack of a better way to say it, to basically a reckless driver who was out to hurt police and basically had to end in a shooting. So it was quite an eventful holiday couple of weeks going into Christmas and coming out of it to the new year for the police.
How much damage was done to the Riverdale police cars?
Believe it or not, not one of the cars were damaged by his reckless driving. There were other jurisdictional cars that were hit,
Yeah.
but not ours.
Riverdale.
Oh,
There was a Weber County
Fortunately,
sheriff
none of
and
our
a lawyer, I
officers
think.
were involved in firearms or anything like that.
But I watched the tribute to Counselor Hilton, and then I watched our chief talk, and we just have such a good city, such a good community, and we just have the best police department, hands down, and fire and rescue, like,
Fire and we
Well,
have,
it goes beyond that. I mean, the whole nexus of everything that the city does. We had an issue on our street where there was flooding. I called, they were there within an hour of my call to clear the drain. I mean, all of the departments are just doing a marvelous job supporting the citizens.
they are, and it's a wonderful place to live. We love living here.
yes. But huge kudos to our police with, like, the first real, like, cyber kidnapping with the foreign exchange student from, absolutely, it was everywhere. And, boy, they just,
Well, they said Australia and I can't remember the other, but a couple of international governments that experienced similar situations and were consulting back and forth. Yeah.
I was also very impressed though with the how quickly the snow removal services came out on Sunday morning. Yeah, I didn't expect them to hit my street. A lot of times they don't make it there until in the afternoon, especially on a Sunday.
they were there
And
early.
they were there early. It was probably 8:30 in the morning when they hit my street, and it was just amazing that they were out with all the snow that we had. That they were out that early.
Well,
getting
we
that
were
done.
driving
We
in.
really appreciate it.
We were driving in Ogden on Sunday, and Wall didn't look like it had been plowed at all. But yet, when we got home, our little cul-de-sac had been plowed. So we are, yeah, I want to second that. Our city has a fantastic snowplow service. And if I could just add to what you said, Amy, just add that the Planning Commission is very grateful for all that Steve Hilton has done for our city, and our thoughts and prayers are definitely with the family. He will be greatly missed in our community.
We all agree.
All in favor? Yes.
Well, no, not yet. Yes, all in favor, yes.
For Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, for Steve and for our city. I do have one question. I have had multiple people asking me what's going on with Motel 6.
I have no update for you at this time.
Thank you. Gives me an answer.
From some of the experience that we've had some residents or members of our ward that have been living there. It's long-term residents in some cases, so it can be from month to month. There's a lot of transient type of
And they do,
population.
and they do take cash only. Unfortunately, all I can say is,
Cash only?
yeah, they do cash only They do allow cash only transactions. All I can say is, city leadership is very concerned about it, and we continue to try to make efforts. We have maybe a new angle to explore that's just recently come up, but I have no update at this time.
And I'm sure that
There is a lot of
police
concern in the
wanna-
community. So I just thought I would ask.
I did see signs up on 5600 Exchange that makes it a little more legible going on to I-15 or into Riverdale Road, which
So if-
makes it a little less confusing.
So if you want a quick update on that,
Yeah,
I had a
sure.
meeting today with another meeting at noon with the 5600 South Project team. They gave an update. I wish I had my notebook. It's up in my office, but I'll go off of memory best I can. I did talk at our last council meeting, or the one before, the mayor had brought up some concerns about it being clear how to get off the freeway northbound, and I think I evidenced that in the last meeting. We had a conversation. The PR representative today let me know that sign had been ordered, and they expect it to come hopefully within the week to get it installed, but they had to have it custom made to make it more clear. So people know right when you get off the freeway, this is not just a 2-lane exit. This opens up to 6 lanes, and you need to know where you're going so you're not trying to figure it out when you're down the way. So that should hopefully get installed, she said, either late this week or the first of next week. I did hear an unfortunate thing about Freeway Park Drive. It will be off and on open because there's a lot of big utilities and big pits they have to dig. It'll be off and on open one way or both ways throughout the whole entire year in waves. And it'll be hard for them to get the word out correctly when it happens. So unfortunately, some people may just find that out by driving up there and realizing they're going one way. It's an unfortunate reality. They said it's just too hard to do signage the way it needs to be done, where there's things that have to be done in a certain timeline. So the best thing for them to do is to let us know, let whoever you can know it'll be off and on one way or both ways, depending on any given time, the project going on. And the reason the biggest reason for that is the safety, because a lot of the lines are really big and deep, and they have to trench a certain way, and they just can't keep both lanes open safely when they're doing that.
We did have a big sign up there that was helpful by the Axio dealership.
Yeah.
It said this road is closed, through traffic is closed, so you don't have to go all the way to the other end and then find out and come back. So that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
And they're trying to do their best to message, but see, it's kind of a weird place and it's kind of hard to message. And, even we heard some things in Roy about some of the 5600 South closure creating some confusion. So they're trying, but there's just a lot of weird pieces. And right now there's a lot going on. They just added the decking for the exit ramp to go into Riverdale. That was barely installed. That's what the closure over the weekend was. And so there's a lot of moving pieces up there. They're building that bridge at the same time and trying to get it to settle over the winter. But they said Freeway Park Drive will be ultimately completely done and ready to go by early second quarter, late first quarter of 2025. That's their anticipation for it. Yeah, that's their anticipation. Yeah, about this time next year, they'll be getting in that final steps of probably it being fully open, and they don't have to mess with it at all.
we just have to have some grace. It's a huge, huge
Yeah,
project.
and that's what, the reason I share this is as you get comments, questions, complaints, help the residents understand that.
Right.
UDOT understands, there's a hotline. If people feel really grieved, they can go to the hotline, they can call it, they can email those people. Both of the team, there's 2 women and a gentleman, they're all great at responding quickly, and they do care. They are very sensitive. I mean, they approached me personally and said, hey, we just want to let you know this sign's going to go up. We know it's important for the city, and we agree. So, I guess what I'm saying is, if residents want to complain, make sure they know that they can find answers.
Now, I've never subscribed to it, but I know that UDOT has an email alert system for certain projects.
Yeah.
And it may be worthwhile.
This does have one. You can subscribe.
To subscribe to that.
She said right now they're doing about every 2 weeks a newsletter update. But as the project gets real heavy and going again, when it gets to that, they'll go back to weekly. Right now they're in every 2 weeks. But
They did say it's weather dependent on
Yeah.
how fast they can move.
yeah, but even then they said today they find ways to get projects done even when the
Yeah,
snow's
they
flying.
do, but they just want you to be aware it
Yeah.
could be delayed due to the weather,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Well, that flyover will be double lane.
Yeah, because one will, not the flyover itself. I think the flyover will only be one lane. So the exit will be 2 lanes because the one will peel down and then one will continue on. So the way I understand it, it'll be 1 lane when it goes to Riverdale Road.
So once it crosses 5600, it won't be a dual
Right.
lane.
Right.
Any forecast as far as a timeline when that you recall?
That's where I was. They didn't really say on that. They did say they were working on that. That's one of their target priorities right now as it relates to that intersection is get that flyover in place so that they can then, excuse me, so they can then eliminate the weird on-off ramp system that's lower because the confusion it creates. So it is a high priority, but they didn't give it a determinate date. They said that and getting the bridge going over 5600 to Freeway Park Drive are the biggest efforts they're trying to work on right there. And then obviously the 5600 itself, they said, what did they say? They said that the switchover with the I-15 freeway, and maybe they were talking about the exit ramp, was late summer of this year, but I'm not sure if that's what they were inferring. And then they said the switchover on 5600 to the south, they're not quite sure, but that will also be later in the year, but they didn't give it a determinative date on that one.
Interesting.
Mike, is there any more talk about 1150 West connecting with 5600 up by the museum? At one time, there was talking about connecting the old North Gate with 5600.
Oh, way across?
Yeah.
No, because
That's a dead issue. I've had a few people
Yeah.
ask that question.
the reason for it is, I'll give you the shortened version of it. There's a long version. There's a lot of top secret, highly sensitive communications equipment and potential ICBM equipment that's located in that stretch behind Northrop Grumman
Right.
as it goes to North Gate. And so the base has no interest whatsoever in putting any kind of road connector there because of that.
And all the munitions.
That's kind of when I say ICBM.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really can be dangerous out there.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's ICBM
Yes.
missile silos all over there, but at one time there was a lot of talk
Yeah.
about trying to connect 56 and 1150.
Randy Daly had tried a long time, and I know Lynn Molding had tried a while, but the base leadership has said
Yeah.
no. Now, that doesn't mean that Northgate might not try to open someday. We've tried to have those conversations, but as far as a connection all the way across base, I would not count on that at all.
So no talk about the connection going right now with 1150 opening without the connection with 56. That's
Yeah, I would say
still
it's-
closed. That's no.
It's a dead
no-
issue because
okay.
of the security risks associated with that area. Yeah. At best, Northgate may open someday. That I could say, maybe a very low percentile chance, but I think any connection across, no.
Now with the airport, that's up in my area, but with the airport situation as well, what's the plans up on the 1150 by the Weber Basin Canal as far as any growth going on up in that way off to the be east of 1150 by the Weber Basin Canal?
There is a project up there that's been approved, which is Peacock Ridge PRUD many years ago, and it started as a lawsuit and ended up getting settled out of court, and the council approved that. That's still an approved project
For a,
Is?
for 10 PRUD home lots.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
so that's above Higgs area.
It's
No.
it's down below there.
No,
it's over 1200.
It's
where it
by
goes up to
where
the
that
end.
church is, and you go up, and it kind of goes into a dead end cul-de-sac.
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
on the
yeah.
rise.
In there,
Okay,
but the ground is very, very unstable.
it is.
They have to do a geotech study and evaluate it each time they build a unit if they ever were to move forward with that project.
Well, they had a lot of issues there too with Hillfield remediation.
Yeah.
And one of the people up there that lived in that area had actually PCBs in their swimming pool, if you heard about that. That's when they was having all that contamination process going on up there. So it's quite a touchy subject.
The cleaning well project, they thought they were good and they had shut it down and they were starting to pull lines out, and then they thought, oh, we better reevaluate this, and they put it back into place. So it's currently in place right now. Yeah.
Okay.
A question, where are we at on the Motor View project?
They're still moving forward. I talked to them just a week ago, right after the New Year's, or maybe it was right after Christmas. It was right after Christmas. They're still moving forward with that project on phase 1. The thing that they're considering doing, which it may come back to the planning commission if they do this, it would start the new process. We'd be under the new policy.
no.
So it'd be a staff, a planning commission review process for it. But they're looking at amending the subdivision and maybe providing property options to the military academy for playfield. So that may come back as part of that project.
Did they resolve the in and out driveways?
Yeah, the council relinquished their concerns on it and
Yeah,
approved the project.
What about those apartments that were approved to go in by Lowe's?
The market went a wrong direction and interest rates went high and the developer
They lost
got
their
cold
window.
feet. So that's the best thing I can say on that one. Last we heard, there's a different developer that's trying to pick up the project and run with it. But I've also heard that somebody wants to bring it back in and amend it all over and start all over again as an true apartment project and not do townhomes. So I've heard both things. So I'll let you know if I hear either, or if either becomes real. We'll let you know.
One other thing, Mike, I've been asked is, what's the checks and balances for when you're building tall buildings for proper building materials, like it don't happen like what happened on 25th Street before it gets to that level? How do they check and balance it at the very beginning?
They should have inspections, and they should be following building codes, because building code tells you what are appropriate building materials.
And we have code
And
enforcement.
the builder clearly, number one, didn't follow building code and didn't understand where appropriate building materials were in the first place to do it correctly. And number two, didn't schedule inspections.
All right,
Our staff is very, very
we're on top of that.
top of it. Yes.
So our building official would never let that happen. Let's
Good.
just say that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think our fire department will.
That's
be
true.
one
We
that really
we do have a new
protects.
fire marshal, and it's Paul Flagg, and he's been a resident of the community for decades. So I'm sure he won't let anything slip.
Yeah, they're just good.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
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 And that is unanimous. Thank you very, very much.